Hey everyone, my guest today is Denny LaVe. Denny is a first generation American who went from extreme poverty in Montana and surviving serious hardships to becoming a successful blue collar entrepreneur and now a Republican candidate for U.S. Senate in Idaho. He's the author of Blue Collar Blessed, A Humble Life in Idaho, a memoir that doesn't shy away from the hard truths of faith, mental health, family, and chasing the American dream from rock bottom. His story has drawn comparisons to Hillbilly Elegy for its honesty. Denny's grassroots campaign is all about authenticity, skipping the Beltway playbook in favor of podcasts, direct engagement, and real conversation. He's challenging an 83-year-old incumbent with a message aimed at working Americans, all chronicled at newlionofidaho.com. Welcome to the show, Denny. I want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Samantha. I'm happy to be here.
Would you be able to tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you're working on right now?
Sure. Well, I was born in Montana originally, Billings, Montana, and went through a family breakup when I was 4 years old, and ended up all over the Western United States as a kid, and then eventually settled down in Idaho after a stretch in a monastery in France. So I've been in Idaho now the last 26 years, and have a wife and 6 children, and have a successful construction company. And now I'm actually running for United States Senate. So it's kind of a wild
awesome
ride.
Yeah, it has. So every time I hear about Montana, I think about the black-footed ferrets, just because there's a big population there. They're not here in Iowa.
Okay. So. All right. Yeah, I don't know. It's Montana to me is, it's where I was born, but I left so early.
Yeah.
That I don't know that I really kind of felt like that was home.
Right.
And I love the Missoula and Bozeman area. I really love the Yellowstone Valley as it rolls through, close to Billings, and the heights and the rim rocks, and it's beautiful, but it's not home. Right. Yeah. And now 26 years in Idaho, it's like, that's home.
Right.
That's where my roots are. That's where my children are. That's like, I have no intention of leaving on a permanent basis anyways.
Yeah. So what led you to the monastery and then to Idaho?
Well, I became Catholic at about 12 years old, and it's just an interesting story of, being exposed to the faith, being exposed to kind of a missionary, almost catacomb-like experience, right? Where it was kind of underground. The priest would come to the house, he'd fly in and come to the house and celebrate mass at the house and visit with people in the community, and then fly away. And it was very much under the radar at the time. It was in Utah. And so it was a very strong Mormon population. And then became Catholic, and kind of had a sense of, okay, well, maybe God wants me to go serve him. And then, but also had, raging hormones and this turbulent upbringing going, no, you should go do other stuff. And everybody's telling you should go be a doctor or a lawyer, or, don't go do that. Yeah. And just some crazy turbulence that I talk about in my book, Blue Collar Blessed, that I wrote last year. And eventually, like I ended up deciding, look, I need to go to the Marine Corps because I need some more discipline in my life. I joined the Corps. I shipped out to boot camp. About 5 weeks in, I had a massive heat stroke. I hit 108 degrees, and fortunately was close to the infirmary when I passed out delirious. And, I literally remember my drill sergeant standing over me while they had me in an ice bath in the ER, and he's pulling my chest hairs and he's going, "You don't have permission to die, son."
Oh my God.
Wow. And, I spent 3 days in ICU, and then that came out of there with them saying, well, thanks for trying, but this isn't for you. Yeah. And having to kind of regroup. And while I was in the ICU recovering, it was I definitely had a sense of, okay, look, I've been telling God no. I've been saying
Mhm.
no. I don't want to go do what you want me to do. I'm doing my own
Yeah.
thing, and it didn't go so well. Maybe it's
Yeah.
time to do what you want me to do. And so that eventually, took a little while to pull it together and get over there to go join this
Yeah.
monastery in France. But it radically changed my life. I spent almost 2 years there. I was 100% committed to being there, to staying there, to taking vows, and
Uh-huh.
and it was uh, it was the whole monk experience, right? With robes and the shaved top of the head, and
Yeah. Yep.
um, I loved
Wow.
it. But at the end of the nearly 2 years there, they're like, yeah, we think you should go home and have a family. It's like,
Oh.
oh, okay,
Okay. Yeah.
okay. I guess I'll go do that then. And so
Yeah.
that led me back to Idaho, um, and back to working in construction, which that had always been sort of a place that I bounced back into, was working as an iron worker. Right, I
Yeah.
started. My dad was an iron worker. Um, I swore I was never going to be an iron worker. And then I got out of high school. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll work ironworking as a little bit to raise some money for school.
Yeah.
Um, and then went to school, ended up going back to work to support the family. Every time things got hard, that's like a consistent fallback where I was able to go back to work, go back and work construction
Mhm.
as an iron worker. And I was very, very good at it, and eventually
Right.
started a company doing that. And, somewhere along
Yeah.
the way, I met my beautiful wife, and I,
Yeah.
it was pretty darn close to love at first sight for me anyways.
Oh.
I was running a youth group at church.
Okay.
She was coming along not to participate in the youth group, but because her and her brothers, they traveled 2 hours to come to church every weekend. And
Oh,
so
geez.
she'd tag along with them, but then she wouldn't be able to participate because she was teaching at a little tiny school. And so she was correcting homework and preparing lesson plans.
Mhm.
But I kept seeing her, and I'm like, man, what is just a beautiful woman, I mean, and I don't mean just
Yeah.
physically, but just the way she carried herself, her presence, her commitment to her students. Like,
Yeah.
okay, this is it. This is the one.
Yeah.
Um, you'll laugh because impulsive and crazy young man. I actually went and I bought the diamond for the engagement ring before she even knew that I was going to start dating her. Right? I'm like,
Oh
I
my
know this is
gosh.
going to work. I
Wow.
know this is right. I'm going to
Yeah.
go start paying for this so that when the right moment comes up, that it's all taken care of. And
Yeah.
yeah, about 3 or 4 months
Yeah.
later, we were dating, and then a few months after that, we got engaged, and then a year after that, we got married, and bang,
Wow.
all of a sudden we started having children, and like
Yeah.
she literally conceived our first two children, and we had twins out the gate. She conceived those on the honeymoon, and it's full throttle since then.
Yeah.
We've got six
Yeah.
sons, and it's
Oh, they're all sons.
mm-hmm,
Oh my
mm-hmm,
goodness.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. She's a superhero. Like
Yeah.
I was I'm glad that my original assessment was not wrong. Right. That, like, she's an
Yeah.
amazing woman. Um,
Yeah.
she's just amazing, really. And
Yeah. That's so interesting because it's like it's almost like they knew at the monastery what you were meant to go do. And then it just all fell into place like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's at the 30,000 foot level. Yeah, that's kind of it looks that way, right?
Right.
I think when you get down boots on the ground, there's been a lot of turbulent spots, right?
Right. Yeah.
There's been some business attempts that did well, but didn't do well enough to support a family. There's been
Mhm.
there's been health issues up and down. But to say that it's not God's
Yeah.
providence, like I agree with you. They somehow knew the best, right? Because I think one of the
Mhm.
things that marks my life is, and that I talk about in Blue Collar Blessed, is that we sort of drifted into this culture where there's not a lot of stability. There's a lot of
Mhm.
broken homes, um, and we tell ourselves that our children are resilient and our children are going to be okay. Um, and yet we now know, and the research is there to support this, that causes deep wounds
Hmm.
on our kids and on those of us who've been through it, and
Yeah.
that those wounds, they actually have consequences, and that they need to be healed. And like I said, sadly, it's an all too common American story. What I went through of going through an ugly divorce as a
Hmm.
child, and having to bounce back and forth in custody, and having the
Yeah.
disruptions that causes. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, in my personal story, like I got exposed to a lot of pornography and a lot of unhealthy stuff as a small child.
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
and that causes, we'd like to think that doesn't cause damage, but it does.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of work to get back to a healthy place. And if people say that today there's a mental health crisis in America,
Hmm.
I think that's one of the root causes, is that we've had this dramatic instability in our family societies for a very long time, and
Yeah.
we continue to kick the can down the road.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's just this this
Yeah.
this 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 stat um, should shock everybody and should be jolting us into action. And I don't know that it is. But as a result of this crazy climate that we've created, this crazy environment,
Hmm.
um, 1 in 3 women in America will be sexually assaulted in her lifetime. 1 in 3,
Right.
and 1 in
Yeah.
10 men.
Jeez.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so we think that this is like, oh, it's in somebody else's backyard.
Hmm.
Um, it's not. Like,
Right.
this is something that's happened and is happening. And
Yeah.
I think, again, part of why I was willing to share my story was, I think people that have been through this are affected by this, because, like, even if you're the 2 out of 3 that hasn't been hurt, or the 9 out of the 10 that hasn't been hurt,
Hmm.
you're interacting with someone who's been hurt,
Right. Right.
and you've been affected by it. You may not know it,
Yeah.
but you've been affected by it. And I think people need to have some hope that like this can be healed, that you can work on this, and that it's not easy, but
Yeah.
it doesn't make you a bad person that these bad things happen to you.
Right. Right. And that, you know, I don't know the statistics, but I do know that I heard somewhere that children from divorced families are more likely to experience some sort of sexual assault. I don't know if it's
Mm-hmm.
because the parents are dating and
Mm-hmm.
maybe trust their partner a
Mm-hmm.
little too much, or
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
um,
that's a definite reality. Is that
yeah.
you get into these blended family environments, and the rate of incident goes up dramatically,
Hmm.
goes up very dramatically, right? And it's,
Yeah.
again, like, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but there's a lot of biological evidence for why that happens and what's going on there. And it's, I'm not, again, not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but what I would want people to know is, like, it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to say this happened, and to get help to heal,
Yeah.
right? Because uh, there's some really interesting data and research along the lines of, like, what happens in a trauma response, right? And so
Hmm.
you have capital T trauma. I got in a car wreck, um, or I was out jogging and was assaulted, right? Those are
Right.
capital T traumas.
Yeah.
But then that we're recognizing now that, like, there's lowercase t trauma, where,
Hmm.
for example, maybe you're consistently neglected as a child,
Right.
or you've got, there's no emotional resources there to help you as a child to process the things that are happening,
Yeah.
right? Um, and then as humans, like, we're still a biological mammalian creature. We develop these response patterns, and what
Hmm.
happens is these response patterns, they actually embed in the brain at the point where the brain is developing at that time. And so,
Okay.
like, we know that our brains develop kind of from, the lower, more autonomic functions up into the prefrontal cortex areas. And we know that the brain doesn't finish developing really fully until like we're in our mid 20s,
Right.
right?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
the younger we are when we have these traumatic experiences, that response pattern can get actually anchored in some of the autonomic regions of the brain. And later on, when we experience the same trigger patterns, uh, those autonomic response patterns can take over and actually bypass prefrontal cortex
Mm.
areas, right?
Yeah.
Um, like to me, if that's not an argument for a stable family environment, I don't know what is, right? Because
Right.
like that's how we get healthy brains is we have stable homes and stable family environments so
Hmm.
that the brain can process and grow and without massive trauma responses in the autonomic areas, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's a fascinating
Yeah.
area of research, and it's a lot of work to. It's like the ounce of prevention is worth way more than the
Yeah.
pound of cure.
Right. Yeah. So while you were talking about this, I was kind of just thinking about my own childhood, and I don't want to place any blame of my problems like on my parents. They were doing the best they could. But um they divorced when I was in elementary school, and the custody was every other weekend, but every other weekday. So I was bouncing from house to house constantly. And at least back when I grew up, and I'm assuming when you grew up, te- divorce wasn't as common, I don't think. And teachers didn't understand like the stress that just bouncing from house to house can put on you. Like I remember a teacher coming down on me saying like, "Well, this just isn't your week, is it?" And because I couldn't find a piece of homework that I had done, and it was in my bag, but by then I'd already um developed anxiety, and I just couldn't find it. I was too frantic. It was right there in my bag, and I just couldn't find it. And then I went out to the hallway, took a couple breaths, found it, came in, and it's like
Hmm.
acting like all of it was my fault. And of course, when you're in sixth grade or whatever, you don't understand that you're frantic because you have anxiety, because you don't have a stable home life.
Right.
And then any of us kids that did have divorced parents, they would try and put us in these special programs and pull us out of class. And I was first chair flute for years, and now I'm getting older, and they would try to pull me out of band to go to this class. And it's like, this is the one thing that I look forward to every day is band, where I'm first chair. And I just refused. And then they stopped putting me in those classes, but that embarrassed me in front of the entire band. And it's like, so the schools didn't know how to
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
children of divorced parents. And it just, yeah,
Yeah.
I can see still struggle with anxiety today. And I think it's anytime I don't have control over something,
Hmm.
it's an issue.
Yeah.
So
I'm really sorry you had to go through that. That's
it's all right. Did you experience similar stuff like that?
um my my custody arrangement that happened. So my dad took us from my sister and I from Montana down to California, and like we actually didn't see my mom or hear from my mom for 6 months.
Okay. Oh,
Um,
no.
like so, imagine I'm 4 and my sister's 7, right? Like
Yeah.
and then they finally ended up going through the divorce process, and he's in California, she's in Montana. So the custody arrangement, my sister and I got really close, and then they split us up.
Oh,
Um,
no.
and then the
Yeah.
custody arrangement was, oh well, you're going to go spend half of Christmas break over at one place, and
Yeah.
half at the other, and then half your summer break at one place, and half at the other.
Yeah.
And it was just a weird arrangement, and I'm sure they were doing the best they could. And
Yeah.
I think it's really important, like for those of us who have been through these things, um,
Hmm.
like yeah, it's okay to say that our parents did the best they could, and it's
Yeah.
important to use the conjunction and instead of but, right? And
Right.
and it caused a lot of harm
Yeah.
because yeah, they did the best they could, and it caused a lot of harm.
Yeah.
And and then the work for us to recover is
Mhm.
a real challenge, right? And the work for us
Yeah.
to get to a place, like I think most people that have gone through that type of hard childhood, like they don't want that for their kids,
Right.
right?
Right.
And
Mhm.
I think one of the things we're seeing today is a lot of people saying, you know what, I'm going to opt out of married life and having kids, period, because
Right.
I don't want that for my kids, right? And I don't know that that's a healthy reaction or a healthy response, but at a certain level, I do understand it, right? I do
Right.
understand, hey, I don't want to do that to my, like, I'm not convinced that I can make sure that this relationship is going to last. And therefore, I'm not going to subject children to what I had to go through. And
Mhm.
therefore, I'm not going to do it. Like, again, I'm not trying to condone or condemn. I'm just trying to understand. And I do
Yeah.
understand, like that's a hard thing because even that commitment to go, you know what, I'm going to have a family and I'm going to have kids and I'm not going to do it like
Uh-huh.
my parents did it. Like even that can cause issues, right? Because instead of a instead of choosing to move forward in positive, like this is what I am going to do,
Uh-huh.
you get stuck in a this is what I'm not going to do mode,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that takes some real work to get past.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you've seen so many. I'm just picturing 6 boys, raising 6 boys.
Mm.
Uh, I don't have children, but the differences between boys and girls when they're growing up that I've just observed. I have nieces, nephews, great nieces, great nephews, all different ages. And I see my cousins' kids and stuff too. So just seeing the difference, how different a young boy will be compared to a young girl, they're just they're wild. They're adorable, but sometimes I'm like, can we have a chill moment?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just
It's I hope we get back to a place where we can celebrate truly masculine and truly feminine,
yeah. Yeah.
right? Where we don't have to apologize for being truly masculine. We don't have to apologize for boys being boys. We don't have to apologize for women being truly feminine. We don't have to apologize for girls, being girly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like it's okay. I mean, and I understand. Hey, yeah, you know what? Like these things are a spectrum,
Mhm.
and that there's overlap on the spectrum.
Yeah.
But like that's the beauty of who we are.
Right.
And like there's something beautiful about a man who is, way out on the like he is a man's man and he's
Yeah.
a true warrior and a true fighter. Like we've all seen soldiers and fighters who are out there. But at the same time, like we've all hopefully seen a man
Yeah.
who's incredibly compassionate, who loves and cares deeply. And
Yeah.
that's also beautiful, right? And,
Right.
and on the same
Yeah.
spectrum, like we've all seen women who are just the most loving and compassionate and just heartfelt, beautiful women. And then we've all seen women who are very, like, they're very protective and they are, they
Mhm.
demonstrate, and it's a beautiful thing. Like, it's the beauty of who we are as humans to,
Yeah.
to just see that that's our real diversity, is that we can show up in so many different ways. And
Yep.
so I hope we can all lean into that more, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah, it's podcasting is a hobby for me. It's my girl time, throw on the makeup, whatever. That's the only time you'll see me wearing makeup. I work with all males as a water operator, and people have heard me say this before. I really appreciate their strength for their job, because no matter how many weights I lift, I don't have the size and I'll never have the strength to be hauling around some of those water main parts and stuff like that. And um, but there's other things, male and female can work together. There's things that I'm better at than they are, So
Mm-hmm.
it's yeah, being able
Mm-hmm.
to learn to appreciate people for their differences and their strengths.
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
Yeah, that is.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to tell you about my sponsors real quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost but don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high-protein snacks for on-the-go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Are you looking for a gift for a music lover, or maybe some apparel to show off your quirky side? Old Glory has you covered. With over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, you're guaranteed to find the perfect item. They even have seasonal gear. My husband enjoys the Beatles and Led Zeppelin apparel, and I love the Billy Idol apparel. I even found items for my fellow plant enthusiasts. This family-owned superstore is known for their quality and customer service, offers free standard shipping on all orders, and orders are shipped the same day you purchase. My discount code gives you 15% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit oldglory.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Looking for a game-changing way to improve your health? Zevo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant, packed with over 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Harnessing the best nature has to offer, Zevo Life nourishes your body while driving your performance, vitality, and overall well-being. Each serving is a concentrated source of clean, well-balanced nutrition designed to support modern lifestyles, and just 1 teaspoon a day supports your gut, boosts energy, and promotes healthier skin and hair. It's no wonder that it's receiving rave 5-star reviews. Step into a healthier future with a 30% discount and a 30-day risk-free guarantee by visiting zivo.life and using my promo code. To support my show and to receive 30% off your entire order, enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. So, what drove you into politics?
Well, as I was mentioning earlier, like I had a turbulent growing up, and I found myself kind of fighting against God, saying, "No, I don't want to do what you want me to do. Like I'll do a little bit of what you want me to do, but not that far." And that got me to some pretty yucky places, and heat stroke in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And then I kind of turned it and said, "Okay, look, fine. I'm going to do what you want me to do. You want me to go to a monastery? Great. I'm going to go to a monastery. And I'm going to stay here. And if you don't ever tell me to leave, then I'm going to be happy to be here, and I'm going to pursue this with all my heart." And he told me to go do a different thing, so I did that. And so I've really tried to cultivate that spirit of, God, you're in charge, right?
Yeah.
This is actually, it's a really critical concept, right? Most people, it's very easy to fall into this trap of you have a mission, you have the thing that you do, and you get your identity from the thing that you do. And then you have all your relationships based on that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a business person, I'm a mom, or I'm a dad, and then that's who I am, right?
Right.
And then you have your friends, you're at the PTA, or you have your friends at work, and when you lose that mission, when that changes, you lose your job, or your kids leave home and go off to school, and it's very easy to get lost. Whereas my belief is very much that, like, God is here. He's revealed himself to us, and he's told us who we are. Like, we're his beloved children.
Yeah.
That's who we are, period. And then he gives us things to do. Hey, I want you to raise a family. Hey, I want you to start a company. Hey, I want you to run for Senate.
Yeah.
You can go do that mission without changing who you are, because you know who you are, because that relationship is there. Right. And so when the mission changes, you don't get lost, because you know who you are.
Yeah.
And so in this case, with the running for office, I heard a politician speak about 18, 19 years ago, and I would like to say I was inspired. I was hoping to be, but instead it was someone who, claims to share the same faith I do, but what they were presenting and what they were doing was completely opposite of what we're taught and what we
Mhm.
believe. I thought, man, if
Right.
he can, like, I know this guy, I know his background. If he could do this, I could do this. And so I went and I
Yeah.
talked to one of my mentors, and they're like, yeah, maybe, but not yet. Like, if God wants you to do this,
Okay.
he'll let you know when it's time. In the meantime, run your business, raise your kids. Like,
Yeah.
that's what you're supposed to do now. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I will do that. So I ran the business. We grew the business. We won multiple Inc. 5000 awards. We work all throughout the Western United States now.
Wow.
Um, it's been very successful. My kids have been
Yeah.
growing, and I'm incredibly proud of my sons.
Yeah.
And again, it's a little counterintuitive, but like I have a couple sons that are they're real blue collar guys. Like they work
Yeah.
for landscaping companies. They like to mechanic on things and fix things for people. I've got one that's going to college to go be an elementary school teacher, right?
Oh.
Because he wants
Yeah.
to give back to the community by teaching in schools.
Yeah.
Um, and then, I've got one that's serving in the military, and, and then I've got two more that are finishing up school, and I'm like, okay, this is good. But at the end of 2024, I had turned over my business to a management team, and
Okay.
I was kind of going, God, what do you want next? Like, I'm going to have a lot of time next year. What do you want?
Yeah.
And after a few weeks of prayer, he's like, okay, it's time to run for Senate. And I'm like, oh, time out. Like, God, that's a really big thing to do. If this is like what you want, okay, but please send someone to tell me this is what you want, so I really know this is what you want.
Right.
And one of my mentors at the time came up and said, okay, well, are you still thinking about doing this? And I said, yeah. And he said, okay, well, now's the time to do it. And I'll help you
Mhm.
with this and I'll help you with that. And so here we are, right? It was kind
Yeah.
of one of those where it's like, okay, God, like I asked you to send someone to tell me that this is what you
Yeah.
wanted. You sent somebody and told me this is what you wanted. So I'm in, which it's been an eye-opening experience, really. You realize that, like, there's a saying in business that, the skill set and mindset it takes to get from zero to $1 million a year is
Mhm.
not the same skill set and mindset that's going to take you to, $5 million a year, which is not the same tools and skill set that's going to take you to 10 million, which is not the same skills and mindset that's going to get you to 100 million.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
so, we're working through the process with, working through and finding a strategy company that says, okay, we understand how national level races work. We understand how incumbents get beaten, how they lose.
Yeah.
And you would think that there's a lot of those out there, but there's not. There's a handful of firms out there.
Okay.
And so then you have to basically convince one of these firms that, like, you're worth the risk to their reputation.
Right.
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 And, and then of course that's not, that doesn't come cheap either, the whole set of services. And in the meantime, I was like, well, if I can't get one of these people to say yes, like, what would be the next best way to get people to know who I am? Okay,
Right.
we'll write a book. So
Yeah.
then it was working with a team to write a book, which, worked out really well. It's now become an international bestseller,
Yeah.
which is pretty cool. So, you're working through the team, you're seeing the backside of politics. You're seeing,
Yeah.
I don't know how many people have had a sitting U.S. senator get involved in their life and say, go away, we don't want you here, right? But
Right.
I've had that experience now.
Oh, geez.
And it's okay. It's like, that's fine. Like, you're not a registered voter in Idaho, so I don't really care what you think.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you think about it that way. So, geez.
But it's really an interesting thing, to
Yeah.
take on the establishment and say, look, it's time for change.
Right.
I mean, my opponent is 83 years old in 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So who is your opponent?
It is a fellow by the name of Jim Risch.
Okay.
And he's
Okay.
He's a career politician here in Idaho. He
Yeah.
first was elected to politics in 1970, which is 6 years before I was born,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like, so this guy's been
Yeah.
politicking and living off the system since 6 years before I was born.
Oh my
And,
goodness.
wants to go back for 6 more years. But it's like when we look at his track record, he's been in the Senate for 18 years now, U.S. Senate
Yeah.
for 18 years. Like, he doesn't have a whole lot of legislative accomplishments, right? He
So
doesn't.
yeah.
He's not a leader. He's not solving problems. He's even come home and in like speeches on this year's campaign trail, he's like, "Yeah, there are these problems that I can't solve."
Oh,
Right?
great.
And his whole pitch is, "Well, Trump's amazing, so you should vote for me because Trump's amazing." And it's
Right.
like, well, I thought we were supposed to vote for you because of the amazing things you did, because
Yeah.
that's what other people do. Like, they tell us about the things they're doing so that we can know who we're voting for. But you're telling us about what Trump's doing and saying we should vote for you because Trump's doing good stuff. And it's like, I'm sorry, but that's
No. I mean, to be
craziness.
in politics for that long and I've never even heard his name, that's maybe I have, but he's not memorable. It's like, okay, well, what have you done with your career then? If yeah.
I mean, this is how crazy it is, right? I don't know if you know who Armstrong Williams is. Armstrong Williams is he runs a TV show and is part of Sinclair Media.
Okay.
His office, he's been in covering political media for 35 years, and he's known at a national level. I had an interview with him a few weeks back. His office is a block from the Hart Senate office building.
Okay.
Right. So these two men work a block away.
Yeah.
Armstrong's business is covering the state of the nation and politics.
Right.
And he said, "Who are you running against?" I told him, and he's like, "I've never heard of this guy. He's been here how long?" I said, 18 years. He said, "I've never heard of this guy."
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, goodness.
So
well,
it's kind of one of those where it's like, in a state like Idaho, there's the political establishment, kind of the political royalty, if you will. And he's well known in that group. I mean,
okay.
His wife is the treasurer for the governor's reelection campaign.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
It's a little bit of,
little connection there.
Connection. Huh. There's another word that comes to mind, but I won't say it on the podcast. It's probably not nice.
All right. So what are some of the hot political issues for Idaho right now?
That's a great question. I took my book on a book tour. I went to every county in the state, talking to elected officials at the county level, talking to their staff, talking to people, that we met in the towns.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what if you could fix one thing in the country, what would you fix? And the overwhelming answer was, we're so tired of the toxic rhetoric and nothing getting done in DC.
Yeah.
And so, I think we have a sense that we should be able to get things done.
Right.
And that we're not.
Yeah.
That we're constantly fighting over the budget. We're constantly fighting over little stuff that should be fairly straightforward. Like, I mean, and we see third world countries that have elections where you have to go in person and use your thumb and put a thumbprint on your ballot to make sure that it's yours so they can verify that it's yours.
Right.
But we can't pass a law that says you actually have to present some form of ID to prove that you're a U.S. citizen to vote in a federal election. Because the law already says that. The law already says you have to be a citizen to vote in a federal election.
Right.
It's just all on the honor system right now.
Yeah.
But the whole arguments around so that's a big deal. People. One thing that people are upset about is the high cost of everything. Well, there's a direct correlation between how much money we borrow as a government and the cost of everything that we buy.
Right.
And so, 18 years ago, the deficit or the national debt was, I think, right around 10 or 11 trillion dollars.
Oh my gosh.
And we're closing in on $40 trillion this year.
Yeah.
So, was it high back then? Yes, it was high back then. Right. But now it's 3 times higher.
Of course. Yeah.
Right. It's, and that directly impacts the cost of everything.
Right.
right? Like you get more money in circulation, price of housing goes up, the price of cars goes up, the price. I mean, I don't know what you're
Hmm.
seeing in Iowa, but I just drove by a gas station yesterday in Central Washington that um, they wanted $6.90 for a gallon of diesel,
Oh gosh.
right? And I'm going,
Yeah.
holy cow! Like, now Washington is admittedly more expensive on fuel
Right.
because of their taxes
Right.
than Idaho, but still
Yeah.
over here in Idaho, it's 550, 580 a gallon, right?
Wow.
I went to,
And
we were
that's for
driving
diesel,
for
right?
diesel. Well,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
like we were driving back from a campaign event last Saturday, and we stopped at a gas station on the way, in the middle of small town Idaho,
Yeah.
and 16-ounce bottles of Gatorade, two for $9,
Oh gosh.
right? And you want Gator Light, the stuff that's concentrated and has more electrolytes, that'll be $9.
Right.
I'm like,
Right.
no, no, it won't, because I refuse. I'm not paying that. That's insane,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so people are upset about the cost of everything, but that comes from kind of reckless spending,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and just borrowing our way out of trouble, right? And we've got these endless military conflicts. I mean, it's crazy since World War II until now.
Hmm.
Um, that's 79 years, I believe, maybe
Yeah.
81 years. Anyways, we've had like 59 or 60 years of what we would call kinetic conflict, right? Where like our troops are actually firing weapons in the open
Right.
at some opposing force. Like
Yeah.
that's insane.
That
That's
is.
insane,
Yeah.
right? Like and so we've gotten ourselves to this place where we think we're the world's police. We're
Hmm.
playing God as a country around the world, trying to influence the outcome of everything, and we're bankrupting ourselves doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And frankly, the outcomes haven't been that great. We're not that good at playing God.
Yeah.
We're just not, right? When I look at the healthcare situation, um, everybody's answer seems to be just throw more money at it,
Right.
which is not the answer, right? Because when we look at peer countries, this came from a Wall Street Journal article a week ago.
Hmm.
In America versus 10 peer countries, in those peer countries, 75 cents on the dollar goes to frontline healthcare workers and 25% goes to overhead and management. In
Oh.
America, it's 9% goes to frontline workers and 91% goes to overhead and profits.
Right. Which is just, it's insane. I
It's
mean,
insane. It's absolutely insane. And we've, as a government, like we've allowed this to happen. We've allowed them to get into these positions and to influence the outcomes to where they can pretty much charge layer upon layer upon layer of overhead to where, they can justify making all this money. And,
right.
we're not healthier for it. Like,
Right.
I
Right.
mean, RFK's made that abundantly clear that like America is not
Yes.
healthy. And,
Yes.
and so we're spending, you know, orders of magnitude more for healthcare that's getting a worse and worse result.
Yeah.
Why would we keep doing what we're doing? Why would we send even more money down that path when the outcome we're getting isn't getting us what we want?
Right.
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 And so I think another big thing here at home is, some of the big companies like Monsanto and Bayer, they
Oh.
kind of want blanket immunity for any ill effects of the products they're putting out in the market.
Hmm.
And to me, that's just flat out wrong.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to put out Roundup and then we find out that Roundup downstream is causing cancer, I'm sorry,
Right.
but you get to have a share of that problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's just right. Like you can't, you know, we've got problems like that all over the state. I mean, we have,
Hmm.
I think it's the first or the second biggest Superfund site in the nation up in northern Idaho,
Oh,
where
really?
in World War II, we needed lead, and we needed lead badly in order to continue fighting the war. And
Uh,
so they ramped up production of lead, and they threw all the environmental controls out the window, and they poisoned the entire Silver Valley ecosystem
hmm.
with heavy metals and toxins. And we've spent billions and billions and billions of dollars cleaning that up, and it's still not cleaned up.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
type of damage that you can't undo in a couple of generations. It takes a really long time for that to go away, if it ever does go away.
Right.
And
Right.
like if you go to Lake Coeur d'Alene, it's great. It's beautiful to boat in, and the top level water is good. But down lower, where the soils are and all the sediment is, like that, there's still a ton of toxins in there.
Yeah.
And they will advise you, look, um, if you're a normal healthy person, you might eat fish there once a month caught from the lake.
Okay.
If you're
Right.
pregnant and you're expecting, don't eat the fish
Right.
because it will cause problems for your kids.
Yeah. Oh my
Like
God.
that's the type of problems that we face here.
Yeah.
And to say, hey, we're going to give blanket immunity to companies that are causing that level of problem,
Hmm.
like that just doesn't sit well with me, and it doesn't sit well with everyday Idahoans,
Right.
and it shouldn't, right? It
Right.
shouldn't. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
we all want affordable food,
Right.
but we
Yeah.
don't want affordable food at the price of having cancer 20 years downstream.
Right. Right.
Like that's not an acceptable trade-off.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of room to pick up, to reduce our spending and reduce our budget without having to drop off the services that we render. And
Right.
I think that in order to promote innovation and improvement, we're going to have to cap the amount of overhead that these companies can spend on their healthcare, for example,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But right now, we've done the opposite. We've done the
Right.
opposite. We've incentivized them to inflate costs and blow up costs because that's the only way that they can make more money. Because we
Yeah.
capped Obamacare capped profitability at 15% on costs.
Yeah.
So what you do is you just blow up your cost structure so that now your cost structure is insanely inflated so that
Right.
you can make 15% on this inflated cost structure.
Right. Yeah.
Well, like that's not sustainable, and it's not healthy, right? And it's frankly, it's keeping people from going and getting the basic care, preventive
Right.
care that they need to get because it's outrageously expensive,
Right.
and
Yeah.
then it's just the whole model of profiting on people's sicknesses.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that, right? I'm all about capitalism, and I'm all about making money, in productive businesses.
Hmm.
But I'm not about, excuse me, I'm definitely not about profiteering
Right.
on people's illnesses and people's misfortunes,
Right.
and I think it's time for a reckoning there.
Yeah. Yes. You know, I think a lot of people, yeah, the dinner table concerns, what's affecting me in my daily life. But sometimes they might miss what is affecting them every day, like the crap in our food that's killing us. Did you eat? Are you full? Do you feel okay? Sure. But it's slowly killing you. Or yeah, I mean just our what's taken out of our paychecks in general
Mm-hmm.
for I don't even look at my pay stubs because it's like I just don't even want to get ticked off at how much money they're taking for me, and then I owe in, and yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, very, very concerning. And I think that I think now is kind of the time for people who aren't the cookie cutter politician, the people who have been in there for years. I think now's the time for new faces to enter because people around the country are so fed up with this.
Yep.
It's the citizens are being forgotten. It's
Yep.
a lot of the politicians right now are just voting for who's giving them money, what's benefiting them, and
Yep.
it's time to get those people out of here.
It is time. I mean, it is very much time, and yeah. So
So, can you tell the audience about your book? And then, so you've been taking your book on the campaign trail?
I have been. Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Blue Collar Blessed,
Okay.
and again, it's on sale at Amazon. It's on Barnes and Noble. It's on Target.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Okay.
anywhere books are sold,
Okay.
it's been sold, and it just recently hit international bestseller. It hit the bestseller list in Australia, Canada, and the United States about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's a very short but incredibly readable and deep memoir of
Uh-huh.
of my life, right? Of growing up and going through a broken home, being exposed to a bunch of pornography and hypersexual material as a kid, and like, what does that do, and
Right.
how do you overcome that? What does it look like to, what sort of challenges did we face starting a family? And
Right.
like we get into some of the stuff of it's very common in the medical field now to get a drug that's approved by the FDA and then to use it in what they call off-label purposes,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So, like in our first pregnancy, there's an off-label drug that they often use in the labor and delivery room called Cytotec, right?
Okay.
And then they use it to induce labor, and it's very effective. It because the side effect of the drug is
Uh-huh.
causing uterine contractions.
Okay.
Right? Okay.
Mhm.
That's what you need when you're going to push a
Yeah.
baby out. Okay.
Right.
Fair enough. But the drug itself it was FDA approved for dealing with ulcers.
Okay.
And what they realized
Right.
that was in women, when they gave this drug to women, the side effect was that they would have massive cramps, PMS cramps.
Okay.
And then they
Yeah.
thought, oh, well, light bulb, hey, we can probably use this to help in labor and delivery.
Yeah.
Okay. However, the side effect of using it in labor and delivery is that unlike Pitocin triggers the natural response of the body to prepare for delivery and to
Okay.
dilate the cervix and to prepare all the tissues to deliver the baby through the birth canal.
Yeah.
Cytotec just causes uterine contractions,
Okay.
and so Cytotec can cause a tremendous amount of physical damage to the mother
Right.
in the effort to get the baby out. But it's very predictable as far as how much time it takes for it to work, and so it's very great for the hospital and for the schedules of the doctors. And
Yeah.
whereas Pitocin kind of takes the time it takes.
Yeah.
We ended up pushing back on the hospital, on the doctors for wanting to use that drug,
Yeah.
and because it was like, no, like I don't want my wife to go through this damage.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with that, right? Yeah, we get it. She's ill. She needs to have the babies, but not
Uh-huh.
this way.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and then
Yeah, and
there's a
especially with two.
mhm. Yeah, and so that led to some other issues, but
Mhm.
again, that led to having an emergency C-section for the twins,
Okay.
um,
Okay.
which went well, and everything. They were healthy, and mom was healthy. You
Yeah.
know, but then the medical industry has decided that, okay, well, after a C-section, you can't have a normal childbirth anymore because it's too dangerous, it's too risky.
Okay.
They don't have any evidence for that.
Yeah.
They just don't want to take the risk, and so they force. If you go through their process, they force you into a C-section after that.
Okay.
Well, like we had multiple births at home after that
Yeah.
because we wanted to have a normal birth, not a C-section.
Oh, wow.
This is perfect. It's
And
perfectly.
it
Everything went fine.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything went fine. I
Wow.
mean, other like we had one that went really long, right? It was like a 30-hour labor.
Uh-huh.
And then the next one, the midwives were like, well, don't call us quite so early, give us a little more time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that ended up in the baby, one of my sons starting to be delivered before the midwives arrived,
Uh-huh.
which is kind of funny, my wife kind of going, well, oh, you need to check for the baby. And I'm like, no, the baby's not coming yet. The midwives aren't here.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
no, you need to check for the baby. I'm like, no, the midwives aren't here. She's like, check for the baby. Sure enough, there's me catching my son,
Oh
you
my
know,
gosh. Yeah.
um, which again,
Wow.
I to this day, that's probably one of my most joyful and happiest moments.
Yeah.
Would I trade that to the medical industry for a C-section?
Right.
Hell no.
Right.
Hell no.
Yeah.
And then with our last pregnancy, we fought with the system because my wife was ill our midwives were like, okay, well, you do need to go to the hospital for this one.
Uh-huh.
Um, and unfortunately, we had an obstetrician that was really pretty disrespectful and pretty um, kind of was treating us like, oh, you're the dumb poor people that don't know what causes this, and this is your sixth baby. Like, what's wrong with you people?
Oh my God. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, we know exactly what causes this, and we had a plan. And
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it, but the rest of the story on that one had one of my editors going, "Wow, man, your wife is such a badass."
Nice. Yeah.
So it's a good read.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good read, and it leaves people hopeful,
Yeah.
right? Because in 12-step circles, in recovery circles, they have some sayings like, pain that's not transmuted is transmitted, right? And
Mhm.
hurt people hurt people.
Right. Right.
And I think people don't see enough stories of people taking their pain and transforming it into something beautiful,
Yeah.
something hopeful.
Right.
And they see a lot of media, a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows where people's pain, they might get their revenge, or they might get justice, or they see a lot of ugly stuff happening, but
Mhm.
they don't see a lot of messages of hope,
Right. Yeah.
and where it's a transformation of pain into something beautiful and hopeful. And
Yeah.
this book does actually a really good job of, I think, of getting there, of going,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is what we got through, and here we are on the other side, and it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds interesting too. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to it too, because I mean, kind of as you were explaining, it seems like blue collar workers, blue collar people, they don't get the respect the same respect as a white collar person. And it's like, well, you
Mm-hmm.
don't realize that a lot of the things you have today is because of the blue collar
Mm-hmm.
workers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people could probably feel inspired by your book.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm very proud of it. It was very hard to get to a point to where I could share my story.
Hmm.
Like, I remember when I first started working on all of this, trying to understand myself and understand what was going on.
Yeah.
I was working with a therapist, and he's like, you should probably take notes, because you're probably going to want to write a book about this someday. And I'm like,
Really?
no. And then the next session, he's like, so let's start talking about your childhood. And because
Hmm.
I think that's probably the root of a lot of what's going on here. And I'm
Right.
like, F you. Like, I built a
Yeah.
wall around that stuff for a reason. Like, I'm not
Right.
tearing that wall down and going back there.
Right.
But the reality is that's exactly what I needed to do in
Yeah.
order to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of circles back to that identity issue, right? Like,
Hmm.
like once you realize that you're a beloved child of the Creator,
Hmm.
and then no matter what you've done or what you've been through, that he loves you, that he just
Yeah.
wants to hold you close, then from that place you can kind of go look at those hard places with a different light.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard a nice woman named Sister Miriam James Heidland talk about it as like, this is heart surgery, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
you're doing heart surgery on yourself, and you have to be delicate, because the heart is a very tender thing.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
can't, if you don't, like, the best place to do it tenderly is to come from that place of love, where you know
Hmm.
that you're deeply loved regardless of how hurt your heart is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That's an interesting way to look at it.
yeah.
So, okay. So, you have a primary May
I do.
19th, you said?
Primary
Okay.
May 19th, in Idaho. And
Yeah.
we're running against Jim Risch. My name is Denny LaVe.
Yeah.
And, people have said, well, in one sentence, like, what would you say? I would say, vote for me. I'm not 83.
Yeah. That
There's
says a
so much
lot.
more to it, but but
Yeah.
the reality is at 83 he's out of touch and he's not going to solve our problems. He's just
Yeah.
not. And
Yeah.
I'm 49 this year, and I enjoy looking older, but I'm 49. I still got a lot of juice in the tank, and
Yeah.
I've lived a lot of
Yeah.
life and seen a lot of things. And we can do
Yeah.
so much better than we're doing in this country. We just
Yeah.
need people with the courage to step up and make a stand for it. And
Yeah. Yep. I think 49 is first off, that's the same age as my sister. When you were saying the year you were born, I'm like, okay, he's the same age as my sister. But you can get a lot. I feel like that's almost the perfect time. 49 is like the new, I don't know, 25.
yeah,
You've
yeah.
lived you've lived some life. You still have a lot of life left to live. Yeah, you're not geriatric.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a
Mm-hmm.
very nice power beard. I think that's gonna help you a bit. I can't wait. I really hope that your campaign is successful, and I cannot wait to see the photo of you with your beard, your professional photo that all the senators have done once they.
Yeah.
So
Well, we got some pretty good stuff on the website too. And there's, if people search
perfect.
for my name online, like we've done a lot of media, we've done a lot of podcasts, we've done a lot of articles, news articles. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
All right.
uh, there, there's a lot of great stuff out there. So,
Perfect. Okay. So what's your website, and can people find you on social media?
the website for the campaign is dennyforsenate.com.
All right.
And the website, or if they search for New Lion of Idaho, they'll find me on socials, and they'll find one of my other websites. So
Perfect.
newlionofIdaho.com.
All right. Sounds good. Is there anything else you'd like the audience to know?
I'll just reiterate, America is one of the greatest countries in the world's ever seen. And we can do so much better than we're doing right now.
Yep.
We just have to be courageous and brave and take a stand to do the right thing.
Yep.
To let go of the people that have proven they're not going to make change, and embrace that courageous side to do the right thing.
Yep.
So
I completely agree. And I think people forget how important the midterms are, and I strongly encourage everyone to get out and vote, because we can.
In the primaries, right? There's so many states where the primary determines the outcome of the election in November.
Yeah.
It's not how it was designed to be, and yet in many states that's how it is. Where in Idaho, 65 to 70% of the electorate votes Republican in November. And so whoever wins the primary in May is very likely going to win in November.
Right.
So if we're frustrated at the choices we have in November, then we need to take action in the primary to make sure we have good candidates available in November.
Yes. Perfect point.
Yeah.
So everyone, get out and vote in the primaries, and check out Denny online.
Yep. Well, thank you very much. And
yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on the show and sharing your story. I think people are going to love listening to this episode.